All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and wow, did you ever pick some interesting articles for us to look at today?
Yeah, this is it's quite the situation in Vancouver right now with JT Miller and his future with the team.
Right. Is he staying? Is he good? I mean, we've all seen the rumors flying around.
Exactly. And the articles you sent really dig into some of the possibilities. They highlight three teams in particular that could be potential destinations if the Canucks decide to trade him.
Okay, so let's jump right into those three teams then. We've got Chicago, the Rangers, and Carolina, each with their own pros and cons, I guess.
Absolutely. So first off, we've got the Chicago Blackhawks, and on the surface, it might seem like a strange fit.
Right. Miller's in his prime, wants to win now, and Chicago, they're kind of rebuilding with Bedard as their centerpiece.
Exactly, but there are some intriguing aspects to the scenario that make it worth considering. First off, Chicago has a ton of cap space.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't really thought about that.
Yeah.
They could definitely afford to give Miller a big extension, probably more than he'd get anywhere else.
Right, and not only that, but think about the role he'd play. In Vancouver, he's got to share the spotlight with Pedersen, Horvat, Hughes.
Yeah, but in Chicago, he'd be the guy, the veteran leader they build around.
Exactly, he'd be mentoring Bedard, showing him the ropes, and he'd have a real chance to leave his mark on that franchise.
That's a good point. It's not just about winning right now, it's about legacy, too.
No.
Okay, so on to the next team, the New York Rangers. Miller's old stomping grounds.
Yeah, this one is fascinating. The Rangers are always in the mix. They've got a ton of talent up front, but they've been struggling to find that extra gear.
Right, so could Miller be the missing piece that puts them over the top?
It's possible, he's familiar with the organization, the city, the fans. There's definitely a sense of nostalgia there.
Hold on, the Rangers are right up against the salary cap.
Yeah.
How could they possibly make a deal work?
Well, they'd have to get creative for sure. They'd need to send some salary back, maybe a young player, a draft pick, to make the numbers work.
So it really comes down to what the Canucks' priorities are.
Right.
If they're just trying to dump salary, it won't work. But if they're looking for future assets, it might.
Right. A young player with potential plus a draft pick could be very valuable to a team like Vancouver that's trying to retool.
All right, last but not least, we've got the Carolina Hurricanes, a team that's always in the hunt for the Stanley Cup.
The Hurricanes are a really interesting case. They've got this system, this identity, this relentless style of play under Coach Moore.
Right, and it seems like any player they bring in, they just plug him into that system, and he thrives.
Exactly. So the question is, does JT Miller fit into that mold? He's a fantastic offensive player, but some scouts have questioned his defensive commitment.
Yeah, I can see that clashing with Moore's coaching style, which is all about hard work and two-way responsibility.
Right. But the article mentions something really interesting. Carolina has a surplus of defensemen, which is exactly what Vancouver needs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They could potentially package a young defenseman like Scott Morrow to sweeten the deal.
Exactly. And Morrow would be a fantastic get for the Canucks. He's a young, puck-moving defenseman, exactly the type of player they lack.
Wow, so we've got three very different options here, each with their own unique set of possibilities.
It's true, and it really makes you think about what the Canucks front office is prioritizing right now. Do they want to go for it all with Miller, or do they start thinking about the future?
Right, and that brings up another point. What about JT Miller's perspective in all of this? He has a no-trade clause, so he has a say in where he ends up.
Exactly. He might prefer to go to a contender like Carolina, or maybe he wants the familiarity of New York, or maybe he's drawn to the opportunity in Chicago.
So many factors at play. It's like a giant game of chess with so many moving pieces.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. Who knows? Maybe there's even a fourth team out there we haven't even considered.
A mystery team emerges from the shadows. That's always fun. All right, well, this has been another fantastic deep dive, thanks to the fascinating articles you brought to the table.
It's been my pleasure, and like you said, this is a story that's going to keep unfolding, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens next.
Exactly. We'll be watching closely, and until next time, we encourage all of you listeners out there to keep those hockey brains engaged. Keep thinking critically about the moves your team is making. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one to predict the next big trade.
That's what makes this sport so exciting. Anything can happen.
And that's it for this deep dive. See you all next time.